All right, this is part three to the top five memorable sex moments, or top five memorable sex. And I just put this one down because it reached a point of completion in my mind. So I was like, let me go ahead and put that down. And like I said earlier in different recordings, I was like, now that I got it on YouTube, like I can forget it, and I can just listen to it and enjoy it and not have to remember it. So just give a good effort as I'm recording it and reminiscing and the end. I mean, cool. So in the last one I was talking about a bad experience, and I'll go ahead and pick up again with another bad one. And this is while I was here in Oregon. So, um, well, this was while I was in Oregon, put it like that. And I was this was later after the phones, and this was I was on the internet on Craigslist. Yeah. And they I think they had apps and stuff. I'm not too sure, but when Craigslist had the personals, you could find some like freaks on there, like some shit. I found two. Whew, buddy, I found some good freaks. Like you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no social. Hey, how you doing? Let's get along. It was like, you gonna come over? We gonna screw? Cool. What time? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure. I'm tripping right now because my mind is hearing like freakier stories than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people can relate when I say that. So this girl, met her off Craigslist when the personals was still going. Uh, and the funny thing is she had a ad on a, she had an ad on some apps, and so I had seen her on this app, and I talked to her. I tried to talk to her on that one, and then I seen her on another app, I think, and then I got at her on Craigslist. I didn't know she was the same person on the app. But come to find out, I was on Craigslist too. I was on the apps too. I was on the other apps too. So it's like, what I'm saying? We was freaky. And so on Craigslist, it was like, hey, what's up? This and that. Uh, Phone number, exchange pics, whatever. Hey, cool. And I remember when she picked me up, uh, she gave me the vibe, man. It was weird. She gave me the vibe like I was another number. You know what I'm saying? She gave me that vibe like how I was saying in the first story. Like I came through the door, like, all right, get out them clothes. I don't even. What's your name again? Get out them clothes. Said she gave me that vibe, like I'm gonna pick you up. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get drunk and have sex, and I'm gonna kick you out tomorrow. The end. Like, let's do this. I've done this before. Like I felt like I was watching a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like watching her be with somebody else, and I was like in his shoes, like watching how she would treat this other dude. Like it felt like a routine like that for her. And so I remember being in her car, driving, being next to her. She wasn't really even really trying to have conversation. You know that vibe. And we went to Safeway. Uh, I'm sorry, that slipped. We went to the grocery store, and yeah, I meant to say we got off Safeway. Safeway is a freeway here in Oregon. I'm just playing, but for the story, it is. We got off the freeway, the Safeway, and we went to the grocery store. And she went in the grocery store and she came out, and she had some beer. She had like a case of beers, and then so I was chilling there, and then she got in the car, and then we went to her. We took off and went to her apartment, to her place, and we got in the place, and so we walking in like not talking like it's a gray area, like what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I know this is some sexual stuff, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's more callous than I am, you know what I mean? Interesting. So we get in, and she has a little girl, like a daughter, like a, like a young girl, like 12 or maybe 11, you know what I'm saying? 10 10 to 12, 10 or 11 around there. And maybe 11 or 12 because she was at the house by herself. So we get in, and so the little girl comes out, and she's like, "Hey, mom," blah blah blah, and she goes back in her room, and then we go sit on the couch, and I get a beer, and at this time, whew, man, at this time I'm like, I'm running in around in the streets like crazy. Uh, like I'm hanging out on the corner. I'm not on the corner, but like I'm in the hood, like drinking in the hood, smoking weed in the hood. Um, I'm sure I was getting into fights, you know what I'm saying? So it was like that. So when she got the beer, it was like I'm starting to drink type of vibe. So it's like I looked at the I looked I was kind of like starting to eat the plate she was providing. It was like without us getting settled and sitting down at the table and eating. It was like she was throwing me beer, finna throw me some ass. So I was like, all right, come on with it, let's get it. So I was like that. Um, I mean, I wasn't hard up for sex. I was hard up for like my time. You know what I mean? Like at that point in my sexuality. So so we over there. I'm on the couch drinking a beer. She's sitting there, and then she starts like taking care of her house, like doing things that women do when they get home from wherever. And she starts doing this and doing that while I'm sitting on the couch drinking. And she sits down after she does this and that, and then she comes back and sits down after she does this and that. We still not vibing or nothing like that. It's like after a while we gonna go in her bedroom and spend the night. I'm gonna get drunk, whatever, right? We gonna get drunk and spend it, crash, whatever. That's how it looks. So I'm like, okay, you know, uh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. Like I'm looking at the clock in my mind. I'm like counting the seconds and shit. I must have been. So I go use the restroom. Let me go in the restroom. My body must have been trying to escape or something, because I know I didn't just like have to use the restroom or I wouldn't have been drinking. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in here. So I went in the restroom, and I'm in there, and I pee, and I think I'm like, okay, it's a whole thing of beer in there. Yep, I'm jogging my mind now. I'm in my mind that I was in. I'm getting to it. I was the whole thing of beer in there. It's a kid in there that's awake. It ain't really dark yet outside. It's like when people getting off of work time. It's like I must have been hustling, man. Because I was trying to get back to the block for some reason. I don't know why. Some reason, man. When I say hustling, I wasn't selling nothing. But it was like I had to get to the block again and work the corner or something, like to hustle more. I don't know. It was something going on. But I was like trying to go back, you feel me, to the car. I remember now. I was trying to kick it with her, right? Uh, go back outside and do something, and then come back and spend the night. That's what I was trying to do. But she was setting it up like I was in for the night, and I was like, but she wasn't making me comfortable, so I wasn't having a good time. I wasn't like, I'm gonna be with you all night. I can chill, cool. It wasn't like that. She was the type of girl who I might have had a couple beers in me, and she might have been like, I'll be right back. You can stay here and drink, and I'll be right back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and went and picked something up. You know what I'm saying? And came back or something. And I've been there, and maybe her kid in the other room, something weird like that. Like she was here and there, like with her mind. So it was like, okay, I go in the restroom, like I'm using the restroom. I use the restroom, and I get ready to go out the restroom. It comes to me, you know, I'm gonna try to fuck her right now because I'm not gonna stay here all day. I'm gonna come back. I can come back and we can lay down and get in the bed and fuck, and so I can spend the night. Sure, I'm sure that was the best thing I had going, or I wouldn't have been there. So it was like, okay, you know, I open the bathroom door, and I see her in the kitchen, and I'm like, come here, and I call her in there with my fingers, and she walks over and comes in the bathroom, and I close the door. So this is a bad experience. Uh, Not that I would take it back. Even the burn experience when I got the gonorrhea, I wouldn't take that back. But it was bad. You feel me? So it's like it was tough. It was a bad experience. It was like a bad memory, like on the dark end or whatnot. And this is in there. I didn't get no disease like that, but it was like, I acted in a weird way, in a doggish kind of way. So I called her in the bathroom, and I remember my body now. I like grab her by the hand and the waist, and I'm like, "Come over here," you know what I'm saying? And I say, "Take your pants." I start taking her clothes off. I'm like, "Take your pants, pull your pants down." And she takes her pants down, and I'm like, "Bend over," and she bends over. And I remember she bent over and put her hands on the toilet, like the toilet seat. Like, it was down all the way, and she bent over with her pants down and put her hands on the seat, and I got at her from behind. So did that, whoop whoop, finished up. Then it was like, okay, uh, she went back outside into the kitchen, and then I went out later, and and I go out there, and I go back to the couch, I believe, and and she's up still doing this and that. I'm sure she was playing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure she was, you know, playing hard, so juggling this and that. So I was like sitting there after I already hit, and I was like, hey, I said, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go do this and that. So I kind of did what I feared she was gonna do, you know what I'm saying? Cause I wasn't comfortable, you know what I'm saying? I felt like she was going up and bounce, like in the middle of the night even, you know what I'm saying? I might be there in the bed drunk, sleep by myself all night, you feel me? And she be out somewhere, smoking weed with whoever, talking whatever, you feel me? Like, I ain't gonna be like that, you feel me? So, I'm gonna be free, you feel me? So I'm like, alright, I'll be right back. She was like, alright. So I leave, and she ends up getting mad later and thinking I'm trying to play her, and I'm not, and I end up not being able to explain myself, and we never made up. Uh, but yeah, that was in my mind. I was laughing at it because it was like, man, that was a doggish move. But you know, as a memorable, the first five that come to my mind. Uh, that was like one of the first times. I'm sure that wasn't the fastest I ever had sex, but that was like the most. One that wasn't. I'm sure not even the most, but it's up there. Like one of the times where it was like, come over here real quick. It's like whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying? Like swoosh swoosh. Like whoop whoop swoosh. You know what I'm saying? Like the end. Slap it up, flip it, rub it down. It's over. Bye. You know what I'm saying? See ya. You know. So it's like whoop whoop. And around the corner type shit, and I bounced. And so that's what I remember about that. I called her in the bathroom and told her to bend over, and I hit it and it was over. Got out the bathroom and left. But yeah, she got upset, and I never got to. I'm a man. I want to hit it again. So it's like I never got to do it again and get comfortable with her. And with sex, the more you do it with somebody, the better it gets, because the more comfortable you get. So that's four. And then five, I'll just say it here and wrap it up. Uh, Five, I'll say that came to my mind, you know. Uh, and before I say the fifth one, don't try this at home. if you not a, if you not, you know, like this, you know what I'm saying? If you not like that, don't try this at home. This ain't typical, you know what I'm saying? This is the American Pimp Star 420 page. you know, my sexuality and my experiences ain't typical. So don't think you can do it. That's what the warning is. Just because I did it, don't think you can do it. You might be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? But just don't assume that. I'm saying when you going after a girl, crazy shit happens. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you calling yourself a pimp and a player and a Mac, and you might do some crazy shit to get it. You know what I'm saying? Just like I'm sure, like I was telling you to do the service with the green thing, pus coming out. And me, smelling it, and it wasn't right, and I still went swimming. So it's like that's pretty crazy. So it's like, uh, that's the warning. It's like it's not for everybody. Don't. That's what they mean when they say don't try this at home. You see these guys on these BMX bikes doing backflips. They mean don't try this at home. If you have a BMX bike and you flip, then yeah, you gonna try it at home if you can, and you have the balloon for it and all this equipment. Yeah, they don't pertain to you. When people say that, that's what they're saying. This is not casual. These experiences are not casual. You know what I mean? So the last one, I would say, and I'm not with my wife now, and I might have paid for it with that, but I went after it. I was, it was when I was, I was with my wife. We wasn't married yet, and I had already had two kids with another lady, and I took all the girls I was with serious, so I was never like, oh, you got pregnant. I don't care what you do. I was always like, oh, my son, my daughter. When the kid came out, I was never tripping. So it was like I was, loving her, loving this girl, and then we broke up, and we had two kids. We broke up, and And then I got with my wife. We still married on paper, but we ain't together. So I got with her, and we moved in with each other, and then we got married. But while we was living together before we got married, I was still like attached to the kids, from the other girl. And so I was through the love for the kids. I was trying to make amends with the mama, and I was screwing the new girlfriend, and I was trying to make amends with the baby mama, and through my love as a dad for my kids, and it was like all that was mixing up. And you know, and while I was with my baby mama before, see, I had a kid with my wife too, but this is before Abel was born. While I was with Cassandra, which was my man, I'm tripping with my baby mama. uh, um, I was in her ear, like, hey, the only thing keeping me from being a square, committed man, going to work and giving you all the money and raising the kids is that I want to have a sexual experience of where it's me and you and another girl. I want to have a menage a trois with two girls at once. I told her that. I was like, so let's go out. If you cool with that, then we could be together and we can go out and do that, and then it'll be over with. Cause before I was with her, like I said, I was like in Texas. I was chasing like experiences, like skinny, big, this color, that color. I was like, I want one like this, and I would chase it and get it. So it's like the two girls at once thing was kind of like one of the last things that I was wanting to experience. And so I told her that. And she had a cute little friend. And so, but man, I must be a dog, period. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, her friend had a man. She had a boyfriend, but I figured that she still might, that it wasn't that serious. I figured they wasn't that serious, and she still might want to get down with us for some weird reason. In my twisted thinking, I was like, okay, he ain't gonna matter. See what's up with her next. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, really? So that's kind of like, I mean, of course, it's not being nice, but this is before I have had arrived to the mentality that's how the kingdom is to be kind, and be loving. So I was like, I guess I guess I was more. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, but I was like, I don't even know, man. I don't want to tell on myself. I kind of feel like I got this gentleman thing going as I'm telling the story, but then it's kind of like, all right, I want to tell y'all. It's okay with my baby mama, with with Cassie. It's like I went into her house with her husband on paper was there. I mean, she brought me over there while he was in there, and I was like, and then they went to the store and we fucked. You know what I'm saying? Type of shit. So it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, you know, I mean, and it happened to me. I mean, I was dating a girl recently, and like the next week we broke up. She was with somebody else, and I was like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, the shoes on the other foot. So, I'm over this girl's house, and you know, her old dude's there. I'm still trying to date the girl in his face. They leave. We screw. And so, we're screwing out. And apparently, she had done that before with different dudes, so they was bent over. And along the way, along the pursuit of things, you learn things like that. It's like uh, you might be walking down the street as a man, or I'm trying, or a single person, girl, whatever. You might be walking down the street, and a couple might walk past you, and you might be attracted to. Listen, I'm gonna speak for myself, dude. Shit, and you see the girl. She's fine. She's with a dude, and they're obviously together. They're close as hell. You know, the dude's her brother, right? Let's say that, right? Let's say he's her brother. I mean, he might be more protective as her brother than if it was her man. If it was her man, he might be less protective. So anyway, nonetheless, you have a right to talk to the girl and try to get her attention if it's her brother. If it's her man, then it's assumed that leave him alone, right? But in the pursuit of things, if you were really interested in the girl, then you might gain along the way that that's her brother, you know, stuff like that. Like you pursue a married woman, and along the way, you realize that you pursue a girl that you like, and you think she likes you. So along the way, you realize she's married, and also she don't care. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not together no more, or whatever. So it's like in the pursuit of things, you learn things. So it's like, you know, when you tell people that right off top, oh, I was over there, and her husband was there, and you know what I'm saying, and I was having sex with her after he left. So that's like down bad. But to come to find out that that's happened before, like she's dated other guys trying to get her groove going, in a new relationship while they're still married on paper, and he might have been struggling, needing a place to live, being on the couch. You learn that it's okay now. The more you know, so that's what I'm saying. Uh, so I wouldn't. I guess I had achieved that confidence of knowing not to assume too much. So even though the girl had a boyfriend, I was like, well, that's her issue. You know what I'm saying? Like that's them. I'm not gonna think for him or her. I know I want what I want. So let me talk to my girl. And I was like, hey, ask her if she want to get down with us. Are you cool with that? She's like, yeah, I'm cool with that if she's cool with that. So I'm like, okay. Well, I asked her then. And so she asked her. And then the girl is like, what the fuck? I have a boyfriend. Like, that was her type of reaction. And then so it all washes back to me. And then my baby mom was like, and this is before we had kids, she was like, oh, she was shocked and like, oh, well, he kind of coerced me into it. And then everybody was ganging up on me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with all that. So, um, like, um, when I was so we had two kids, and then we broke up, and then I got with the new girl, which her name is Megan, and so while I'm screwing Megan, I'm missing my kids with Cassandra. So that's what I'm saying, and I'm like, hey Megan, uh, I want to have sex with two girls at once, you know. Can you make that happen? And she made it happen, but she wanted more out of our relationship than I did. So like she made all my dreams come true, and it was like dope. And she was like, hey, and there's more. And I was like, what? She was like, let's get married and have kids. I was like, all right, great. So we got married, and we had Abel. We had kids, and and that was that. But so the sexual experience is this. This is before we had Abel. I was in Megan's ear, and I was like, you know, I forgot where I was at, but anyway, to make a long story short, the fifth top five, the fifth most memorable experience is when I was with Megan and Cassandra at the same time, and we were we were I can't say where we were at, but eh, you know what? I already said it in another recording, so uh, yeah, I was able to see my kids. There we go, and we were all together, and it was great. And the kids were young still. Felicity was still a baby, and Darian, he was running around the house, but he was like 3, something like that, 2, 3. Alrighty. So that was my. And at that time, I had one, two. We had already done the 2 girl thing twice already, and then I was with her together with the baby mamas. So that was cool. So that was just the first 5 that came to mind, like right out the way. Um, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it there. I've been yapping. All right, don't try this at home. These are sexual stories because we're in them times of sexual freedom and the sexual revolution. From the Pimp Star, 420. Joey is loyal. Jose Kent. All right, peace.